Hey guys, welcome back. This is McCarville Studios. We're going to talk about a kit. This is an unboxing video, and there'll be some other stuff to follow. But first, I just want to kind of give you a sneak preview of what the kit looks like. So, way back when, we started talking about doing a kit with Bill Banta, and we finally got it done and released. And I've shipped almost all of them except for a couple that haven't been spoken for. I imagine by the time I release this video, they may all be gone, but if not, reach out to me. So anyway, um, Bill Banta and I started talking about doing the Ridgway Roundhouse, mostly because I wanted one. So that's how this project got started. Um, Partway through the project, we started talking about doing the Ridgway office building. Now, the office building for the Rio Grande Southern sat behind this Roundhouse building. So that one got released. We were still working on this one. I say we because it was a project that Bill and I were working on together. I did very little, if any, of the work, and all the credit goes to Bill Banta for this. Bill's been super supportive of me for the last couple years, and I want to thank him for that. But without further ado, let's get talking about this kit. So this kit is the Ridgway Roundhouse in HO. So it's an HO narrow gauge because the engines are smaller. It's an HOn3 narrow gauge Roundhouse kit. It's a laser cut kit, but excuse me, it's a resin cast wall kit. So the masters for the walls were actually laser cut in acrylic, and then they were cast in resin. And rubber molds were made, and then those were used to cast the resin walls. So we'll go through some of that. I actually sneaked a peek at this one, of course, and so those have been unpackaged. So they should all come in a bundle, but I broke them all out just make it easier to do the video, and make it easier for me to see the differences in them and examine the kit and stuff. All the other parts are laser cut, so like a lot of Bill's kits, most of Bill's kits, if not all, and mine as well, they're all laser cut kits, all laser cut wood, acetate for the windows, a sort of composite material for the doors and windows material, and then it's a resin cast wall, so the walls are resin cast on the sides and the back, and then the front's all wood. So, and we'll go through some of the pieces, and I'll give you an idea of what it looks like. So in Ridgway without an E, there's no E in Ridgway. In Ridgway, Colorado, Southwest Colorado. That's where the Rio Grande Southern headquarters initially was until they moved it to Rico. The Roundhouse was the division point for the railroad. So they actually did a lot of maintenance and engine work and repair work and that type of thing in this Roundhouse. And then it went all the way down through Southwest Colorado, went through Rico, which is where they moved the headquarters later on, and then ended up in Durango. And then they have another big Roundhouse down there, the Denver Rio Grande Western did. And they use that every once in a while, but then after a while they had a West Durango small little engine shop that they moved so that they were just on their own right away. Anyway, this kit is a 7-stall Roundhouse. Now it had 5 stalls, so there's resin walls for the 5 stalls. The stalls 6 and 7 are for when they added the Galloping Goose motive power. So there's another wall for that, and then the 2 back walls. Now it's brick on the top and stone on the bottom for the resin wall construction on the old part. But when they got to the new part, when they got to the expanded 6th and 7th wall or stall, those have concrete bases and brick upper material, construction material. So this kit has 7 back walls, and it has 3 walls. One's an interior, which is the old 5-stall Roundhouse, and then the new. So there's actually 3 long walls. So you can build it so that it actually looked like, you know, what the thing looked like. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's start with the resin walls and kind of show you a little bit better. It comes with a great set of instructions. Bill does a great job writing his instructions. There's some tricky steps in here, so make sure you follow it and read the instructions first. I've already read these. Lots and lots of photos. Matter of fact, you can see there's not a lot of text. There's a ton of photos, which helps immeasurably. I've written my share and corrected my share of instructions for different vendors, so I know what value that brings. Gotta have photos. And then there's some cool finished photos at the last 2 pages. This is a 5-stall roundhouse that was done for an S scaler. So we don't care about that because we're HO scalers. But so Sam Furukawa did that. That was built for Sam. And then there are just diagrams of the roof section, the interior doors. That's all doors, actually. All the doors and windows, lots of those. Got to let the light in. Chimney stacks, the bracing. It comes with templates. Now this is a track diagram, and it says that from the front wall to the center of the turntable is 12 and 3/8 or something like that inches. This whole thing measures about 22 inches. I think I measured 23 inches from wide corner to wide corner, and then from the front stall to the back is about 12 inches, and then this little compressor house, it's called a boiler house, it's actually a compressor house. This structure right here adds another 2 square inches to it, and then if you count the center of the turntable being 12 inches out, it's a pretty sizable structure. So we're gonna plant it right in front of a prototype sized turntable, which means some interesting operational things. So 12 3/8 to center a turntable. Angle between tracks is 8.9698 degrees to be precise. So if you're looking for the exact inspection pits in bay 3, 4, and 5. So this thing mounts actually to the ground. So if you're going to do inspection pits, you need to plan that in advance. This is a actual scale HO diagram that's intended to be, used to mount down to the ground. Plywood base, MDF, whatever you're going to use, foam. I'd do something stable, honestly. So that comes with it. I'll probably scan this, photocopy it, and then take it to one of the FedEx Kinkos and scan this so that I don't ruin this. Although I don't know what else I would do with it, but I'm not going to mess up the original. So let's go through some of the parts. Let's go through the long walls first, only because I can see them. So now remember, this is cast as if it was a narrow gauge actual prototype structure. Stands on its own. That's a good sign. There are this wall, and I know, I apologize, you're not gonna be able to see this, but once we start getting to build it and put this whole thing together, it'll come together better. Let's see if I can get some shadow effect in there. So there you can see the stone on the bottom, and then there's a sill, and then the brick texture, and I know that it's not going to show up very well. There's the actual prototype door. Now on this wall is the east side. There's actually cracks in the brick that reflects the prototype cracks over this window, which means that this brick was the original. This was replaced over this window. So we're going to paint that a slightly different shade of the brick material on here when we airbrush this. So that's the east wall. This is the interior of the old west wall of the 5-stall roundhouse. And you'll notice there's a doorway opening here. And there's photos on the Friends of Cumbersome Toltec website that shows that this opening is really there, and it looks through the goose stalls, and then in the corner there's this weird triangular shaped shed type storage unit. We're going to model that. Well, I got 2 of the 3 to stand. Anyway, and then this is the goose stall. So that's what it should look like. And then there'll be back walls on there too. So let's take a look at those next. So three resin walls. Now, if you wanted to model this, you wouldn't need the interior, that extra interior wall. I think it's cool. We talked about it. I said that was something that I thought we should do. Make me sound important, like I had something to do with the decision making, because Bill was probably going to do it anyway. But I thought it was important. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so the stone on the outside wall, this is actually the outside wall. The inside is smooth texture. The outside of the goose stalls, this is actually concrete. So this is formed concrete. So it looks like it's a kind of a poured foundation for the lower wall. They didn't use stone. At the time, it was probably more expensive, which means that there are, let's see. So I have 5 original stalls for the resin. You can see those are all stone foundations, which makes sense because the side walls are all stone foundations and brick on top, and then the back walls for the 5 are like that. Cool attention to detail. So those 5 end walls look like that. They're all the same. And then these are the goose stall backs, and you'll notice there is no stone texture because this matches the walls of the expanded stalls 6 and 7 for the goose stalls. So this is made to match the other stalls. So if you're digging through there and you're like, hey, I got screwed. I didn't get stone. No, that's intentional. That's how it was. Now, these are the ends. These are the pilasters, the columns that go on the ends of the big tall walls, the 3 long walls. And you'll notice there are ends that correspond to the stonework and then the flat foundation, the poured concrete. So next up, we have some roofing material. This is kind of a tissue paper type material. I'm not going to cut that open. Some of these I'll cut open. A massive bag of strip wood. Now this is made for all of the interior beams and any of the strip wood trim and that type of thing. So there is a ton of wood in here. And I order a lot of wood from Mount Albert, and that's a pretty good sized chunk of wood for one kit. And don't forget, we did 30 of these kits. Let's see. We'll go through the easy stuff first. This is just windows. I don't need to open this up. You can see the detail on the all the panes that are on here. Now there'll be a layer of. So we do these in layers. So if you wanted to paint several different layers, you could do a trim layer. You could do the window panes, and then there's the acetate underneath. You always start with the acetate. Put the panes on top of paint it, then put the panes on top of that, and then paint your trim piece either the same color or a complementary color, and then put that on top of that, and that way you get a real tiered, layered effect. Plus it stiffens them up, it makes them more substantial, which I think is probably one of the better results of that. Next up, there is a lot of, so since this is a 7-stall roundhouse, that right there, I know it's a little blurry, that is the smoke jacks that go on the roof. So, and since we're talking about that, let's talk about the roof. So this is the roof section. So these are all cut MDF roof sections. You'll notice there's a seam right there. That's because the roof bends at the top. It peaks in the middle and then bends off, and then they have the smoke jacks on top of it. So that's what that's for. And obviously it's not going to stay flat. You're going to need to modify the roof pieces. Let's see. There's a lot of parts in this thing. And you know, it's a big empty barn. You know, it's not like it's Anyway, uh, a small little baggie with a couple pieces of plastic tubing and 2 panels for acetate windows. These were in addition to, probably ought to be in this pouch, but for whatever reason they're separate. I've read through the instructions real quick, so if you're going to ask me a very very technical question, I can't answer it yet, but soon. Um, this is a this is what is known as a cardboard template. So this is very similar if you've ever built any like the Ophir tram house, all those bents that hold that tram house up over the tracks. It's the same thing. So we're going to build the uh, 2x12 framework that goes inside the roundhouse, and we're going to utilize those to create it. And then these pieces, I have no idea what those small little braces are. They're probably braces so you don't have to cut all these corners. They may not be, but I think that's what they are. Um, and there's a little piece of looks like brickwork, rock work for the base. Let's see, we're down to this baggie. So this one I already know since I've gone through the instructions. This is really thick. This is like 1/8 of an inch thick. So this is about a foot thick in HO scale. These are footers for the posts inside the roundhouse, and then these are also footers as well. And then various beam pieces and that type of thing. These may actually be for the over the front doors since there is no structure along the front. So that may be what those are for. Just guessing on that one. These are pretty obvious. Those are the ribs for the front doors. That is the wood for the back side of the front doors. This is the framework that goes around them. Now the doors did change over time. So if you want to do your own thing, cool. I'd like to see the photos of that. But I can tell you that I'm going to build basically the kit as it's shown, partly to show people how to build it, and partly because we kind of picked an era and it was my era, so hey. So we're not going to change it too much. There's a little cardboard pieces here. I don't know what these are. I think these go on the little compressor house that sits at the back side of the. It's on stall 2, I think. Without opening it back up again, I think it's on stall 2 that the little compressor house. It's called boiler house. It's called compressor house. It's basically what powers all of the compressed air mechanicals inside the roundhouse. So, done a lot of research about that. Now, this is MDF shell for the little compressor house. Apologize for the glare over and over again. You get to see a lot of this stuff actually out here soon. So, and then this is the ribbed material for the siding for the compressor house. So, and then we have this final little baggie. This is just really small piece parts, bits and bobs of stuff. This is, what do I want to say? White plastic styrene tubing, and it is for various pipes and exhaust things. This tall one is probably for the compressor house. I'm just guessing. There's some wire in there too. And there are straps. You probably can't see them very well. Those things right there, those are actually, I believe those are the Grant Line door straps. And that was one of the holdups for us to get the kit out and produced, was that we were waiting for enough of those straps to do 30 kits. So that's all the parts that are in the bag. Now, if you want to build this, you're going to have to affix it to something that is going to be able to take traffic of engines moving in and out of it. I don't know anything about doors, whether they open or close. My roof, I'm going to engineer the kit, so I'm going to build my kit so that the roofs can come off, because I'm going to want to clean the track, but that's certainly not a requirement, because I mean, once you put the engine in there, it's not really going to do anything. I'm also going to put a smaller turntable in front of it to match the prototype. And the reason for that is because in operations for the Roundhouse, there were 2 lead tracks that went to the turntable from outside the yard area. So those 2 lead tracks that went in, the turntable could access all the little storage tracks that went off, and then the 7 bays in the Roundhouse. The 2 lead tracks corresponded to 2 stalls in the Roundhouse. I believe stalls 2 and 3, or 3 and 4. I don't remember exact. I think it's 3 and 4, but I'm probably wrong. The turntable was big enough to turn the C16 to C19, 460, the smaller RGS engines. When they got K27s, the turntable was unable to turn a K27 because it was too short. Therefore, the only stalls you'd ever see in the Roundhouse were those 2 stalls that corresponded to the lead tracks, and they would just run straight across the turntable. Now, if you want to do this so that you have a little bit bigger turntable so you can turn a K27, which I think most people probably want to do, cool. Just take that into consideration. You're probably going to test that before you buy your turntable anyway, just to make sure it's long enough. Obviously, the Walthers, whatever it is, 110, 130 foot turntable, no way that thing's going to fit in this space. But just a standard turntable or narrow gauge turntable probably won't be a problem. I, however, think it's cool to mirror the actual operations of the yard area at Ridgway. So my turntable will not turn a K27, which means when you're operating on my layout, you have to adhere to that restriction, because you just can't turn a K27. Not gracefully, anyway. So that's it for this. This is just an unboxing video. I'll pack all this stuff up, and I'll move it over to the other bench. We'll start working on that, and I will share some of the steps. We're probably going to break this video up into a bunch of different pieces. There's a bunch of considerations. There's the resin phase of getting all the resin pieces together, secured, mounted, down to a base, etc. There's the wood truss and roofing phase, making it removable, getting the wood trusses so it supports it, getting the smoke jacks in place. The whole front wall is all a wood construction phase. And then, not really a separate phase, but the little boiler house on the back. And then painting and weathering. So all that stuff really is going to be a lot of separate stuff. And then operations, obviously, down the road. So there will be a couple of different videos. So subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get notified for alerts. Click the bell. Do all that garbage that YouTube always tells you to do so that you get updates. But if you're following my channel, and if you followed this one, you probably already saw it. You probably already know that there's updates coming, that type of thing. That's it. I want to thank you guys for watching. This is exciting. This is really exciting for me because I wanted this, so I get one. And thanks to everybody who purchased one, who pre-ordered. We actually sold out on the pre-orders, and there was 2 kits that people either couldn't sell their existing Roundhouse, or didn't have room for this when they actually realized the module that they built for the club wasn't big enough to house this. So at that point, they were like, I don't want to build a brand new module. Don't blame you. And then, so I at this point, I have a couple that are still available. So if you're interested, reach out to me. They're available right now in our web store. I'll put a link down below to that. I'll put a link down below for our Facebook group. I'll put a link down below for the YouTube channel and all that stuff. So once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. And until then, happy modeling, and take care. See you guys.